This time, it's the history of the Goldstar. Before we start, don't forget to like and subscribe for more content. BSA were never a competition orientated sort of company. However, in 1921 they invested a great deal of money into the development of a TT racer. Unfortunately for BSA, this groundbreaking overhead valve machine was a complete failure, all the bikes breaking down during the race. Although the machine did influence the design of BSA's successful sloper models, there was to be no more talk of competition at the BSA factory. The sloper was pretty much the epitome of BSA thinking. Overhead valve or side valve, 500cc, well engineered and solidly built. But with its fairly flimsy frame, even the sporty overhead valve model was never destined to be a racer. But it was an excellent machine, nonetheless, and I have to say one of my favourite all-time BSAs. However, by the mid-30s, the brief trend for sloping cylinders was all over, and BSA got back to building their engines with vertical cylinders once again. And then in 1936, Val Page arrived at BSA. This legendary designer got to work and design for BSA an all-new, top-of-the-range motorcycle, the Empire Star. Now, sporting the Empire Star may have been, but it was not intended for competition. Val Page, however, had other ideas. And in 1937, he persuaded the by-then retired race ace Walt Handley to attempt to do a 100-mile-an-hour lap of the Brooklyn circuit with a much modified Empire Star. Handley was of course successful and was awarded a Gold Star, handing BSA some great publicity and a rather obvious name for their new sporting model. Walt Handley would subsequently join the RAF and would die in an air crash in 1941. Right from the start, BSA saw the bike as a production racer. Essentially, you rode the bike to the track, took the lights off and raced for the day, put the lights back on again and rode home. But just as the future looked bright for the BSA, along came World War II, and BSA had to concentrate on the production of weapons and of course the side valve M20 dispatch rider machine. But with the war over, the Goldstar was back, in the form of the B32 and B34 models, but now fitted with plunger rear suspension and telescopic front forks. And then of course in 1953 came the classic DB models with their swinging arm frames. And it was these models that gave BSA great success in scrambles, or what we today call motocross, and of course trials and grass track racing too. But perhaps today's the Clubman's model which is best remembered, with its clip-on handlebars, racing crouch position, big TT carburettor and close ratio gearbox. And this bike, particularly in 350 form early on, would come to dominate production racing in the 1950s and 60s. It's often forgotten that initially the 500 model wasn't quite so successful, but with the advent of the DBD34 model it would come to completely dominate production racing. However, you can, it seems, be too successful for your own good. So dominant was the BSA Goldstar, the production racing got cancelled because there was really no competition to be had, turning the Clubman series into an effective one-make series. There really was nothing that could match the sound and feel of a Goldstar on the road. Only Norton's, by now outdated Inter, and the Velocette Venom came close. However, both of those machines were considerably more expensive at the time, and of course much more rare. By the early 60s, the Goldstar had well and truly had its day. It was heavy and very expensive to produce, when compared to the lightweight two-strokes by then dominating off-road racing, and of course the Clubman Road Race series was dead. On the road, some chassis were modified to create the RGS, or Rocket Goldstar 650. But worst of all, BSA used the name for a rather ugly little off-road machine in the early 70s, a true act of vandalism to any Goldstar fanatic. And in the 1990s, BSA Regal cashed in on past glories by creating the Gold SR. This employed a Yamaha SR400 engine in a bespoke BSA frame. And though it is a rather pretty bike, it's not particularly sporting, and I'm not sure, to be honest, if it's worthy of the Goldstar name. And for many years that seemed to be it for both BSA and the Goldstar. But then came news of an all-new BSA Goldstar, and this was officially unveiled at Motorcycle Live in Birmingham in 2021. The machine has been developed by Classic Legends, who now own the BSA brand. The company is part-owned by the huge Mahindra Corporation. The machine uses a Rotax-designed, single-cylinder, liquid-cooled, 4-valve per cylinder, 650cc engine with a 5-speed gearbox. Is this a new beginning for both BSA and the Goldstar? Only time will tell. Well, I do hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe, and of course, thank you very much for watching.